In one fluid motion, he was on his feet. His chair scraped against the floor with a harsh sound that made several students jump, but he was already moving, his long legs carrying him across the room in powerful strides. Students gasped and whispered. Phones clicked as pictures were taken, but all of it felt like it was happening underwater. The moment Yniee's terrified eyes found his face, her expression transformed. The confusion melted away like snow in sunlight, replaced by pure, overwhelming relief. Yniee. Cuckoo. Cuckoo Oppa. She wailed, her voice breaking with emotion as she stumbled forward on unsteady toddler legs, her arms reaching desperately toward the one person who represented safety in her small world. Yniee. Cuckoo. Yniee lost. Yniee so scared. Jungkook dropped to his knees without caring about his expensive jeans hitting the cold floor, catching her as she launched herself into his arms with complete faith that he would be there to catch her. The impact of her small body against his chest felt like his soul returning to his body after being ripped away. His arms wrapped around her protectively, pulling her against his heart as if he could shield her from every scary thing that had ever existed. Jungkook, I'm here, my precious angel, I'm here. Oppa's got his baby now, he whispered against her hair, his voice breaking with relief and overwhelming love. His large hands rubbed soothing circles on her tiny back as she buried her face in his neck, her little fists clutching desperately at his leather jacket like he might disappear if she let go. Yniee. Cuckoo. Yniee. Yniee lost. No find Cuckoo. Scary. So scary. She hiccuped against his skin, her words muffled, but clear enough to make his heart clench painfully in his chest. Jungkook. She, my little star. You're not lost anymore. You found Oppa, just like you always do. My brave, smart angel, he murmured, pressing gentle kisses all over her head while his eyes automatically scanned the room, noting every face, every expression. Yniee. Yniee, walk and walk. Look for Cuckoo. But But too many people and Yniee don't know where and she tried to explain through her sobs, her broken baby sentences making his heart ache. Jungkook. My precious baby got lost looking for Oppa. My brave little princess walked all by herself to find me, he asked softly, pulling back just enough to cup her tear-stained face in his large hands, his thumbs gently wiping away her tears. Yniee. Mrs. Han take Yniee see flowers. But then Mrs. Han talked to Flower Man, and Yniee see butterfly, and follow butterfly, and then no see Mrs. Han, and no see Cuckoo, and Yniee so scared, she whimpered, her small body shuddering with remembered fear. Jungkook. Oh, my sweet angel. You must have been so frightened, but look, you found your way to Oppa all by yourself. You're the smartest, bravest baby in the whole world. He praised, his voice thick with emotion as he stood up slowly, keeping her cradled securely in his arms. Yniee. Yniee not brave. Yniee cries so much. She whispered against his neck, ashamed of her tears. Jungkook. My baby. Crying doesn't make you not brave. You were scared and lost, but you didn't give up. You kept looking for Oppa until you found me. That's the bravest thing anyone could ever do, he assured her, his words carrying absolute conviction. Yniee, JK. Ynii's voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried clearly in the silent room. He was already standing, both their bags in his hands, his usually impassive face showing genuine concern for the little girl he'd grown to adore. Yniee. Yniee Oppa. Ynie's face brightened slightly through her tears at the sight of the second person she trusted unconditionally. She reached one tiny hand toward him while keeping her other arm firmly wrapped around Jungkook's neck. Yniee. Hey there, little princess. Yniee. Oppa's heart beat. Oppa is here too. You scared us, baby girl. Yniee said softly, his voice gentler than anyone in that room had ever heard it. He stepped closer, gently taking her outstretched hand and pressing a soft kiss to her tiny knuckles. Yniee. Yniee Oppa. Yniee lost but Yniee find cuckoo. Yniee so happy now, she said, giving him a watery smile that made his heart melt. Student 1. Is that really Jungkook? Whispered a girl in the third row, her voice filled with disbelief. Student 2. He has a baby sister. She's so tiny and cute, murmured another, craning her neck to get a better look at the unprecedented scene. Student 3. Look at his face. I've never seen him smile like that, ever. He looks like a completely different person, observed a guy near the back. Professor Kim. Mr. Chun. Should I call security to help find the child's guardian? Professor Kim asked uncertainly, clearly confused about the situation. Jungkook single quotes S. lifted to meet the professors. And when he spoke, his voice was filled with gentle authority. Jungkook. I am her guardian. This is my baby sister. She got separated from our nanny and found her way here, he explained simply, his protective instincts flaring at the suggestion that Yniee needed to be taken away from him. Yniee. Cuckoo Oppa. This cuckoo school? So big, bigger than Yniee, she said with wonder, finally calming enough to look around at her surroundings, though she kept her arms firmly wrapped around his neck. Jungkook. This is where Oppa comes to learn, my little star. Do you like it? He asked softly, automatically swaying slightly to comfort her the way he had when she was a newborn. Yniee. So many big kids. They all looking at Yniee, she whispered, suddenly shy as she noticed all the staring faces. Jungkook. They're looking because they've never seen anyone as beautiful and precious as Oppa's baby princess, he said tenderly, his voice carrying just enough volume for the curious students to hear. Jungkook. Don't worry about them, my angel. They're just surprised to see how amazing you are. Yniee. Really? Yniee pretty like princess? She asked hopefully, peeking up at him with eyes that sparkled despite the tear tracks on her cheeks. Jungkook. The most beautiful princess in the whole world. The prettiest baby that ever existed. Oppa's perfect little angel, he confirmed, pressing gentle kisses to her forehead that made her giggle softly. Yniee. Love cuckoo Oppa. Love so much, she declared, patting his cheeks with her tiny hands in the way that never failed to make his heart soar. Jungkook. Oppa loves his baby more than all the stars in the sky, more than everything in the universe. You're Oppa's whole life, my precious one, he whispered back, his voice thick with emotion that made several students tear up at the pure love in his words. As they moved toward the door, Yniee suddenly remembered something important. Yniee. Cuckoo. Yniee hungry. Tummy make noise, she announced, her small stomach rumbling audibly against his chest. Jungkook. Of course my little star is hungry. You've been so brave today. Walking all that way to find Oppa. What does my precious baby want to eat? He asked, automatically adjusting his stride to rock her gently as they walked. Yniee. Want ice cream, and cookies, and milk, she listed hopefully, her trauma forgotten now that she was safe in her beloved Oppa's arms. Jungkook, ice cream and cookies for the bravest princess in Seoul, and all the milk my angel wants, he promised, making her clap her tiny hands with delight. Yniee, ***. Yay! Cuckoo best Oppa in whole world. Yniee so lucky, she declared loudly enough for the entire hallway to hear, making him chuckle, despite the seriousness of the situation. Just before they left the classroom, Jungkook paused and turned back to face the room full of stunned students. His expression was serious but not threatening. Jungkook, what you've seen here today is my family. My baby sister means everything to me. I trust that everyone here understands how precious she is and will respect her privacy, he said quietly, his words carrying the weight of absolute sincerity rather than threat. Yniee. Bye-bye. Nice meet everyone. Yniee, go eat ice cream now. She waved her little hand at the classroom, completely oblivious to the significance of the moment, making several students wave back with genuine smiles. Then Jungkook's expression softened as he looked at his classmates one more time. Jungkook, she's the most important thing in my world. The reason everything I do matters. Thank you for being kind to her, he added, his voice carrying a vulnerability that none of them had ever heard before. As they walked through the hallways of the university, Yniee chattered constantly, pointing at everything with wonder, while remaining securely in Jungkook's protective embrace. Yniee flying like bird, tweet tweet, she giggled, spreading her little arms wide as he held her up, making other students stop and stare in amazement at the sight. Jungkook ***, my little bird, my precious little angel bird, he murmured, lowering her back into his arms and spinning slowly, making her laugh harder. Yniee, JK, you know everyone's taking videos, right? Yniee muttered, but his eyes were fond as he watched his best friend completely lose himself in his sister's joy. Jungkook ***, let them. I don't care anymore. She's the best thing about me. Why would I hide that? Jungkook replied, pressing a kiss to Yniee's temple, as she settled back into his arms. Jungkook walked towards the parking along with little Yniee in his arms. They reached Yniee, bid a goodbye, walked towards his own car and left, whereas Jungkook sat on driving seat with Yniee curled in his lap like a sleepy kitten. She had been through an emotional ordeal and was starting to crash from the adrenaline. Yniee. Cuckoo. Yniee sleepy, now comma. She mumbled against his chest, her tiny fist clutching his shirt. Jungkook, sleep, my precious baby. Oppa will hold you while you rest. You're safe now. Oppa's got his angel, he whispered, gently stroking her hair. As her eyes began to flutter close. Yniee. Cuckoo, no go nowhere? Stay with Yniee? She asked anxiously, even in her exhaustion. Jungkook. Oppa is never leaving his baby again. Never ever. Yniee and Cuckoo stay together always, he promised firmly. His words a sacred vow. Yniee. Always together. Yniee loved Cuckoo more than whole world, she whispered, finally letting sleep take her, completely trusting that her beloved Oppa would keep her safe. Jungkook. Oppa loves his baby more than life itself. You're everything, my precious angel. Everything, he murmured against her hair, holding her close as she slept peacefully in his arms. As students walked by and discreetly took photos of the impossible, sight Seoul's most feared student tenderly holding a sleeping toddler like she was made of spun glass. Jungkook didn't care about any of it. His reputation, his image, his carefully constructed walls, none of it mattered when compared to the tiny girl who owned his entire heart. But it wasn't just his parents he had lost that night. In the span of a heartbeat, he had inherited an empire built on blood and shadows, responsibilities that would have crushed grown men, and most importantly, most terrifyingly, a 3-month-old baby sister, who had no one left in the world except him. Dr. Kim. Mr. Chun. Your sister, she's been asking for her mother. Well, not asking exactly, but she's been crying non-stop. The nurses have tried everything, but Jungkook's hands shook as he followed the doctor to the NICU, where tiny Yniee lay in a plastic bassinet, her face red and blotchy from crying, her little fists waving helplessly in the air. She was so small, so impossibly fragile that Jungkook was terrified he might break her just by looking at her wrong. Jungkook. I don't know how to. I've never ... He started, his voice cracking with uncertainty and grief. Nurse Park. She needs to be held, Mr. Chun. Babies need skin-to-skin contact, especially after trauma. She can sense that her world has changed and she's scared, the gentle nurse explained, carefully lifting the tiny bundle and offering her to Jungkook. With trembling hands, Jungkook took his baby sister into his arms, for the first time as her sole guardian. The moment she settled against his chest, something miraculous happened. Her crying stopped. Her tiny body relaxed and she made the softest little sound, like a contented sigh. Jungkook asterisk. She stopped crying, he whispered in amazement, staring down at her perfect little face. Nurse Park, she knows your family. Babies can sense love. Mr. Chun. She feels safe with you, the nurse said softly. And in that moment, as 3-month-old Yniee curled her impossibly small fingers around his thumb and looked up at him with eyes that mirrored his own, Jungkook felt his broken heart begin to heal. She wasn't just his responsibility, she was his salvation. The first night home asterisk. The mansion felt like a tomb without his parents' laughter echoing through the halls. Mrs. Han, their longtime housekeeper who had raised Jungkook himself, had prepared the nursery with military precision bottles. Sterilized, diapers stacked, formula measured. Mrs. Han. Young master, perhaps I should take the first shift with Miss Yniee. You've been through so much and babies require. Jungkook. No. Jungkook interrupted gently but firmly, cradling Yniee against his chest where she had been sleeping peacefully for the past hour. Jungkook, she's my responsibility now. I need to learn. That first night was the longest of Jungkook's life. Yniee woke up every 2 hours, crying for feedings, diaper changes, or simply because she missed the familiar heartbeat she had known in the womb. But Jungkook didn't put her down, not once. He fed her bottles while she lay on his chest. Changed her diapers with shaking hands, and when she cried, he would pace the nursery, humming off-key lullabies until she settled. Jungkook, it's okay, baby. Oppa's here. Oppa will always be here. He whispered into the darkness, his voice the only sound in the vast, empty house. By dawn, they had found their rhythm. Yniee would only sleep when she was pressed against Jungkook's heart, her tiny ear listening to the steady beat that had become her new comfort. And Jungkook discovered that holding her was the only thing that kept his own broken heart from stopping altogether. 3 months old, learning to love. Jungkook. Mrs. Han, the formula needs to be exactly 98.6 degrees. Not warmer, not cooler. And make sure you test it on your wrist first. Jungkook instructed as he prepared Yniee's morning bottle, his movements precise and practiced despite only 3 weeks of experience. Mrs. Han. Young master, you've become quite the expert. Mrs. Han observed with fond amazement as she watched him cradle Yniee in the perfect feeding position. Every feeding time became a sacred ritual. Jungkook would sit in the rocking chair his mother had used, Yniee cradled in his arms, and tell her stories about their parents, about the world outside, about all the places he would take her when she was older. 6 months old, first smiles. The day Yniee smiled at him for the first time, Jungkook cried. He had been changing her diaper, making funny faces to keep her from fussing, when suddenly her face lit up with the most radiant, gummy smile he had ever seen. She giggled, actually giggled, and reached her chubby little hands toward his face. Jungkook, Mrs. Han. Mrs. Han, come quick. She smiled. My baby smiled at me, he called out, his voice breaking with joy as he scooped Yniee up and spun her gently around the nursery. Mrs. Han. Oh my goodness. Miss Yniee, you're such a pretty girl, Mrs. Han exclaimed, tears in her own eyes as she witnessed the pure love between the siblings. From that day forward, Jungkook's entire world revolved around earning those smiles. He would make the silliest faces, sing the most ridiculous songs and dance around the nursery just to hear her laugh. Her joy became his oxygen, her happiness his only goal. 8 months old, midnight feedings. Even as Yniee grew, their nighttime routine never changed. She would only sleep on Jungkook's chest, her tiny body rising and falling with his breathing. When she woke for her midnight bottle, he would carry her to the kitchen, heating her formula, while she dozed against his shoulder. Jungkook, are you hungry, my little star? Oppa's got your bottle ready, he would whisper, settling into their chair, and watching her sleepy face as she drank. These quiet moments in the dark became their most precious time together. No business calls, no dangerous meetings, no outside world. Just a big brother and his baby sister, existing in their perfect bubble of love. 1-year-old first steps. Yniee's first steps weren't toward a toy, or Mrs. Han or anyone else. They were straight into Jungkook's arms. He had been sitting on the floor of the living room, arms outstretched, when she let go of the coffee table and took 3 wobbly steps before falling into his embrace. Jungkook, my brilliant baby. You did it, you walked to Oppa, he exclaimed, covering her face with kisses as she squealed with delight. Yniee, coo, she babbled, her first attempt at saying his name, and Jungkook's heart nearly exploded with pride. Jungkook. That's right, Angel. Cuckoo. Say cuckoo Oppa. He encouraged, his voice thick with emotion. Yniee. Cuckoo, she said more clearly, clapping her tiny hands, and Jungkook knew he would never hear a more beautiful sound in his entire life. 2 years old, still his baby. Nothing had changed. Yniee still refused to sleep anywhere, but on Jungkook's chest. She still demanded that he feed her breakfast every morning, sitting on his lap and sharing his toast. She still cried when he left for college and lit up the entire world. When he came home. Yniee. Coo. Up, she would demand every morning, reaching her arms toward him until he scooped her up and carried her to the kitchen. Jungkook, good morning, my precious baby. Did my angel sleep well? He would ask, settling her on his lap and cutting her food into tiny pieces. Yniee. Sleep good, dream about cuckoo, she would declare proudly, making his heart melt all over again. Every feeding, every diaper change, every bath time. Every bedtime story. Jungkook had done it all. He had been her mother and father, her protector and provider, her whole world, and she had become his. The unbreakable bond. People often asked Mrs. Hahn how a 22-year-old man had learned to care for a baby so perfectly. How he balanced running a criminal empire with raising a toddler. But she knew the truth, it wasn't about learning or balancing. It was about love so deep, so pure, that it transformed everything it touched. Jungkook hadn't just raised Yniee, she had saved him. In caring for her, he had found his purpose. In protecting her innocence, he had preserved his own humanity. In loving her unconditionally, he had learned what it meant to be truly alive. Yniee. And bubbles in bath? Big bubbles? She asked excitedly. Jungkook. The biggest bubbles ever. Mountains of bubbles for my little star. He agreed, earning a radiant smile that lit up his entire world. The drive towards ice cream shop was filled with Yniee's constant chatter. About her big adventure, her fear completely replaced by excitement about being with her cuckoo Oppa. Every few minutes, she would reach for his hand, just to make sure he was really there. Yniee. Cuckoo. When Yniee was lost, Yniee think about cuckoo. Hugs and feel little bit better, she said thoughtfully. Jungkook. And when Oppa saw his baby crying, Oppa's heart hurt so much. But now you're safe and happy. So Oppa's heart is happy too, he replied, squeezing her tiny hand gently. Yniee. Oppa heart and Yniee heart same. She declared with the simple wisdom of a child. Jungkook. Exactly the same, my angel. We share one heart, you and Oppa. Always, he agreed, and he meant every word. Jungkook. Exactly the same, my angel. We share one heart, you and Oppa. Always, he agreed, and he meant every word. That evening, as they sat together in her nursery, surrounded by stuffed animals and fairy tale books, Yniee in her favorite pajamas and Jungkook reading her bedtime stories. With different voices for each character, the events of the day felt like a distant dream. Yniee, love Cuckoo so much. Whole universe much. She yawned, finally ready for sleep. Jungkook. Love you more than all the stars and planets and everything that exists. My precious angel, sweet dreams, baby princess, he whispered, settling into the chair beside her bed, where he planned to spend the night, just like every night since she was born. Because Jungkook feared mafia heir, cold college student, and most importantly, devoted big brother. Had learned something important that day. Love wasn't something to hide or be ashamed of. Love was strength. Love was power. Love was everything. And his love for the tiny girl sleeping peacefully in her bed, completely trusting that her Cuckoo Oppa would always be there to protect her, was the most powerful force in his world. It was his lifeline, his purpose, his everything. In a world built on fear and violence, Yniee's innocent love had the power to bring him to his knees and make him believe in goodness again. And that was worth more than all the power and money in the world.